Hello, and thank you for joining us for the AI Innovators Summit. The webinar will start momentarily. Let's give people one more minute to join before we kick off. A few housekeeping rules. Please submit any questions that you have in the Q&A window. We'll try to address them at the end. Or we will have a Kantar expert reach out to you afterwards. We've also included a link to our AI Hub, where you'll find all key resources and thought leadership from Kantar on the topic of AI. And finally, all the sessions will be recorded and available on demand. So this session is about unlocking potential by integrating AI throughout the marketing lifecycle. I'll give you a preview of Kantar's key solutions for each of the lifecycle stages. Later on, I'll be joined by Chandan Mukherjee, Senior Vice President of Strategy, Marketing, and Communications at Nestlé, to share Nestlé's experience of using AI in the marketing lifecycle. But let's first talk about how Kantar is helping you unlock potential by integrating AI. So if we look at the landscape today, there are three key applications of AI in marketing, apart obviously from the area of improving customer experience, which I shall not be going today into. So most AI so far has focused on replacing tasks. The real opportunity with AI is in embedding it in a way that transforms processes to deliver impact at scale. And let's first talk about creative production. So here the opportunity is in embedding AI into end-to-end communication process. Let's talk about ad tech next. Here the opportunity is to leverage AI to create a consistent approach to advertising performance and optimization and a single view of marketing AI. And finally, in innovation development, early adopters are looking at using AI to craft and iterate ideas that lead their innovation roadmap. Let's talk about creative production first. At the heart of our offer is the Kantar AI Assistant, which will guide the use of AI tools through all stages of ad production, right from the creative brief to early stage testing of the storyline, pre-testing the content itself with the Link AI, usually in context of the platform where it will get published, to a prediction of whether it will work in other markets with Transfer AI. And then finally, moving on to Lift AI, where we give you a prediction of in-market brand effects of advertising. Now, marketers can use these to come up with golden rules for improving creative ROI for their respective categories and brands. Now, what I'll do is I'll do a quick intro and demo of just some of Kantar's AI solutions in the marketing lifecycle. Let's start with Link AI in action. Link AI is a state-of-the-art, perpetually trained platform. So it keeps improving as we keep updating the data that feeds into it. And Link AI reliably predicts a video's ads in-market performance success in 15 minutes flat. It's built on Link, the world's largest normative advertising database, which consists of 250,000 plus ads. It's got 37 million plus human interactions built into it. And as I said, the models are always updated, and we have updates and refreshments and improvements coming up all the time. Typically, our clients see a 30% increase in ROI when improving an ad's creative quality from average to best. Now here you'll see an example of creating more engaging advertising by pinpointing the parts of digital ads that hold the most consumer attention. And it's all just done by an AI using a prediction of where the consumer gaze and heat map will be. Moving on to in-market impact, where our solution is Lift ROI. And here you see Lift ROI in action, a quick demo. Now, Lift ROI is Kantar's modern disruptive measurement approach to changing the way marketers think, evaluate, and influence marketing performance and KPIs. Lift ROI gives you a holistic view of the data you need when you need it, all in one location, bringing together brand equity, creative quality, and sales data for long-term and short-term sales objectives. It's unique in that sense that it integrates both of these marketing objectives. Again, it's got a proven track record. Here's some evidence of positive returns from investing in Link ROI. Our clients, on an average, see a 20% increase in ROI thanks to the optimized media mix. They see a 17% sales increase within 6 months a 42% increase in profits, and then finally, a 9.2% reduction in annual churn across the entire product portfolio. Moving on to the final stage, which is the innovation development, and let's have a look at the Kantar Concept Evaluate AI tool in action. Now, what brands need is rapid feedback on whether their early stage product and service concepts will resonate so that they can get to market quickly and be positioned for success. Concept Evaluate AI is a fully AI-powered concept testing tool that helps brands make confident innovation decisions. You can test and learn iteratively with accurate predictions of how initial concepts will perform with consumers. So just to sum up, you can see how you're able to unlock potential by integrating AI throughout the marketing lifecycle. What I just gave you was a whistle-stop tour of how Kantar is integrating AI throughout the marketing lifecycle to help you unlock your brand's potential. There are more AI-powered solutions available compared to what I just shared. So I hope I was able to give you a quick idea of the solutions we have. Now let's have a chat with Chandan, our client, on how Nestlé is using AI, in partnership with Kantar and otherwise to improve and unlock their potential. Thanks. I'm delighted now to be joined by our esteemed client, Chandan Mukherjee. Chandan is Director and Senior Vice President, Strategy, Marketing and Communications with Nestlé India. Welcome, Chandan. And thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to learning about how Nestlé is leveraging AI to optimize insights.
Hi, Rana. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So, Chandan, just to kick off, in terms of how Nestlé is using AI, what has been the journey so far?
Well, so AI tools draw on huge or large amounts of data and information, often to solve a complex question or a problem. And we have been using AI in different ways for quite some time. Now, of course, there is more and more generative AI that uses existing data to create new combinations and new content. So we've been very, very curious about using both of these tools, and we have been able to luckily embed some of the tools. We're experimenting on many different tools as well, and looking at different technologies as well, whether it be in the area of content, whether it be in the area of media, or in the area of engagement. The journey started quite a while back, and there are some tools which produce or give good results. There are some other tools, which have some shortcomings, etc. We are always in the constant process of experimenting with these so that we can actually understand how we can work through the different elements of the consumer engagement funnel, right from kind of, getting better encounters with consumers at the more upper end of the funnel on awareness, consideration, and also at the more lower end of the funnel as well. And therefore working through, how do we get better pieces of content out there? How could we optimize these pieces of content, and so on? So it's been a fascinating journey, of course, but lots more coming. The world is fast changing. There are newer and newer, sort of tech and tools coming in. They're getting sharper, they're getting better, they're getting more predictive, they're producing, more relevant pieces of content, and so on. So the continuous machine learning and improvement that is also seen is very, very interesting. Of course, it's just the tip of the iceberg overall. I think there's lots more which is coming, and this is set to be the sort of, the technology of the decade in a way, and therefore lots that we are toying with.
No, that's right. I mean, even in Kantar, we've been amazed with how we started with the earlier solutions in the space of AI and how it's moving all the time, and every other month you have an update or a release where the solution just keeps getting better. But just when it comes to using AI in the different stages of the brand or product life cycle, can you share how you use AI for just innovation and coming up with new ideas?
Well, yeah. So if you look at kind of, new ideas, we are constantly using different kinds of tools to understand trends, what's moving up, what's coming in, what's shaping up. We used different tools out there in the market, but one of the ones that we have been using as well is DX Analytics, and that also gives us a good sense of, what's really coming in, how it could fuel new ideas and innovations. So some of these tools, monitor data across social media, across search, even go into looking at restaurant aggregator data, because we are a food and beverage company. We need to understand, what's really trending out there. What are the new cuisines or dishes or foods that people are getting more and more interested in? And AI helps in classifying these trends into the right buckets. What is at its inception? What's gathering more momentum? What's kind of, picking up, and what's maybe plateauing or even coming down? And this can help us pinpoint into the claims which are coming in, some of the flavors which are getting interesting, ingredients, cuisines, some of the preferences, for example, between different elements, how different superfoods or ingredients or others are becoming more and more interesting. And all this then goes into the innovation pipeline, into developing concepts. And all of this, while you could use traditional methods, but the sheer volume of data is so high that AI is able to be very, very productive in this entire search process, in this entire analysis process. And that's actually helping us go much faster and sharper in our innovation process.
Right. I mean, especially Nestle being in the, food is such a area of passion for everybody. There's so much social media content, commentary, videos. And I think specifically if you look at India, the whole sort of fusion of different regional cuisines and how Western cuisine and, like you said, superfoods are coming in. So yeah, that's fascinating. And I think that piece of DX analytics we did for you, I found it fascinating learning as well. So much new stuff coming in. Now, just moving on to the area of content, where again, there's so much of profusion of content and both digital, non-digital. How are you using AI for the ad development process, right from briefing, ideation, testing, iteration, just getting better? And if you may want to comment on how does it vary for like what you would call traditional or more long form video content like TV versus, digital content? What's been your experience in that space?
So yeah, well, digital content is a space where we produce a good number of pieces of content in different formats, for different platforms, long form, short form, etc. Though of course there is more and more sort of use and consumer behavior is more moving into the short form area. So because of the huge proliferation of content out there, in order to manage the entire process of even creation or even understanding, which pieces of content could work better, we have been using a number of different AI tools. We've got a very strong embedding of a tool which looks at all the hygiene pieces of content.
Right.
So once you have, different pieces of digital content, looking at whether it will work, whether there is the right level of branding, whether the messaging is coming through or not, and different other criteria that we use more tuned to the requirements of the different platforms. So we have that very well embedded
So like
in
it does the
Nestle for a
content
couple of
tick
years.
all the boxes, right?
Yeah, whether you tick
Yeah.
all the boxes and whether you've got the right content, and also if you don't, then understand where exactly it's falling short. So therefore, you can also modify and adapt. And since digital is fast moving, you can kind of quickly get to certain solutions and iterations and all of that very, very fast. For some of our more important pieces of content, whether it be for traditional screens or media, or whether it be for digital content, tools like AI or Link AI can actually work well to help us understand, whether the content would work from the perspective of having the right key metrics, benchmarking also versus some of the other pieces of content that we have, and so on. And therefore, those kind of tools have also been giving us much faster ways of understanding, response of consumers to different types of content. I must say that the machine has been improving over time, and some of the learnings and understanding that we have been getting from Link AI has been better over a period of time. So obviously the machine is trying to predict better and see, whether we have got the right elements and so on. On things like, for example, specific brand cues, if you have done a link for AI 2, 3, 5 times before, then I think, you can also, in your next test that you do, it also takes into account that kind of learning to see whether those elements are coming in or not. So I think it's an ever evolving system. It's an improving system. The prediction is getting more and more relevant and more interesting. I must say Link AI also has a few areas where it could probably, learn more over a period of time, especially in the area of, emotions and some of the use of celebrities, for example, or humor, and some of the nuances in terms of storytelling, which obviously the machine has, a few more steps to learn, but I think it's all moving in the right direction. And some of the Link for AI results have been helping us shortlist, quickly iterate, benchmark on some of the key indicators and move very, very fast. So therefore, uh, AI has been helping us in our entire journey of, ideation, testing, iteration, and understanding, what works and so on. Of course, in the front end, if you look at briefing, then of course, AI can help you generate a large number of ideas. AI could also sort of add a few different nuances. Some of our younger talent also just sort of, ideate with different pieces of AI and with different tools and come up with some interesting, wacky new thoughts and ideas, which are always interesting at the front
Right.
end, of the creative process to get some new elements out there. So overall, has been a very interesting journey.
Sorry, when you said your young talent, you mean your agency partners or people within Nestle as well, I presume?
Well, both agency partners
Mm,
and the Nestle side,
mm,
I
mm.
think, we have been, for example, we were working on something around the monsoon, and if you sort of ask any question on some of the AI platforms around monsoons, it does give you a few new ideas as well. And that the better
Right.
you can prompt the machine, you can also get, more fascinating and more interesting pieces. And then it's up to you to imagine and join the dots a little bit and kind of, come up with even stronger ideas and with stronger briefs. So a very, very interesting journey of having an intern alongside, human work. And it's a combination of
Yeah.
human intelligence and
Yeah.
artificial
Yeah.
intelligence,
Yeah.
which could
Yeah.
actually take you to a much better place.
Yeah, we talk about humanized AI, so that's how Kantar wants to approach it. And yeah, I mean, like you said, it's improving all the time, but there are elements of human emotion, sarcasm, which I think is still some way to go. And in India, which is so heavily influenced by celebrities, obviously, and many other parts of Asia as well. So yeah, if that can be incorporated, I think that's something we're working on and look forward to kind of sharing with you the latest developments. Now, just coming into post-launch, let's say you've chosen the right content and you're on air or on the publishers or platforms. How do you use AI to optimize things? I mean, ad tech is obviously quite mature already. So can you share some on that aspect?
Well, yeah. So here we work with a number of our platforms. We work with Google and with Meta, YouTube and so on. So therefore, we try and use different sort of capabilities that they have. Maybe I talk through one of our,
Mhm.
loved brands of India, which is Maggie, and how
Yes.
we could kind of, reimagine the strategy to reach and delight more consumers throughout the length and breadth of the country. So, as you would know, Maggie is a highly penetrated brand in India, but of course, there is still more, to get in terms of reach and penetration, especially when you go to the small towns and
Right.
when you go to the rural areas. So we used actually the Geo Unlock solution from
Mhm.
Google to try and reach, tier two and rural markets and try and improve awareness, especially in TV dark areas. And this was supported with AI-powered target frequency to build effective reach. And
Mhm.
this is the AI capability which helps us kind of get to more effective reach. And we reached a very large proportion of our target audience with a reasonably high frequency. And then, of course, we had our creative strategy also falling in place at the same time, where we used a combination of different creatives across formats, screens, languages, from non-scapes to the short and the short form video ones. And it was all about serving our creatives in the most optimal manner using
Right.
some of the AI tools and similarly using the AI powered target frequency to build effective reach. So once you have that, with this integrated media strategy, the total reach actually increased and was supplemented with a lower cost per reach, so was more
Mhm.
effective
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
efficient. And it was amazing to see how short form videos drove uplift in ad recall and reached a certain number of unique users and developed or delivered a good sort of volume growth for its size, some penetration increase that we saw, and some uplift in share as well that we saw in some of our priority markets.
Understood.
So and similarly, you could use some of the Meta platforms to do exactly that to understand, and get far more agile ways of reaching consumers, to get also the most agile ways of actually trying to understand, what is working, what is not, and quickly
Not
make
working.
changes and iterations to move ahead. So all this with the power of technology has been really amazing, and AI behind it has been really of use. Previously, of course, we do know that, a lot of the product recommendations that you see on different platforms comes through AI on the back end in terms of what you watch and what products are sort of served up on screen. And this actually adds a layer of also being able to reach the right consumers and to be able to have the most meaningful creatives in front of them.
Right. Well, that's very powerful, actually. I mean, yeah, some of the things that technology and real-time improvement post-launch. Now, just another separate kind of, how are you combining what I would call traditional research or traditional methodologies with the new AI techniques? Because obviously, you have existing systems and ways of doing things, and then now AI is coming in. And is there like a good combination of the two, a sweet spot that you're beginning to find in some areas?
Yeah, absolutely. It starts actually with, trying to understand what the objective is and, what's the problem that we're trying to solve, or what's the opportunity that we're trying to chase,
Hmm.
or anything in that domain. Once your objectives and the problem to solve is clear, then you could sort of, see what kind of solutions would really help address that particular issue or that particular, area that you want to investigate or understand or get deeper into, whether it be again in the area of content or media or engagement. And that's where we sort of start a little bit from an agnostic point of view, and then we see what
Hmm.
exactly would help us. Some of the tools are obviously more traditional, where you use some of the more traditional ways of getting to consumers and so on. And some of them could, of course, be more AI driven, where you could use some of the tools around predictive analytics, or maybe even everyday AI tools, which could help you to get much smarter and more productive and so on and so forth. And maybe some of the more advanced AI tools to look at various forms of content and be able to sort of mine data in a much swifter, much faster way, and also iterate and quickly move from one spot to another. AI is not static. Once you ask a few
Yeah.
questions and you get some output out of it, you can add on another layer, and then it sort of refines and it goes along. So that's been our journey, to use AI infused sort of outputs together with more traditional infused outputs, and combine it. And finally, the combination again is sort of done in a very integrated manner to understand whether you are answering those questions or those objectives that you set out to answer,
Hmm.
and whether it really meets those needs. So, for example, some of the work that we have been doing with you guys on food, for example, uses some of the traditional, more classical methodologies, and not just one methodology, but a basket of different things. And
Hmm.
then some of the more AI infused, tools to really get to the other side. And the two together have taken us to a good spot in terms of being able to mine deeper insights and develop stronger knowledge and understanding. So that's
Right.
how we are. Of course, sometimes internal stakeholders and we ourselves, may sometimes feel that AI might hallucinate, AI might not be able to look at the full picture, AI may still not be able to connect all the dots. But I think some of the technologies are moving better and faster and swifter in that direction to give
Hmm.
us more meaningful results. And I think that's the direction that we are taking. We, of course, keeping a layer of human judgment on all of this to see what works best, because sometimes the context is not fully understood by AI, which the human mind, more fully understands context and so on. So it's a good combination of all this, which takes us to a much better spot than what would have happened had we just gone with human understanding and just classical tools
Right.
and techniques, or if we had just gone with AI related methodologies. So the two
Yeah.
together, the power of two is beyond two.
No, you're right. I mean, the starting point is what problem are we trying to solve here? And then the methodologies, whatever they be, kind of follow on from there. I see we have some audience questions as well. Chandan, I see one for you, which is what are the emerging AI technologies or techniques that you're more excited about for marketing insights?
So yeah, one of the technologies which we have used pretty successfully actually in the recent past has been around voice and language. As you know, in India, there are many different languages, and while some of our websites are in English primarily, we have been able to use AI tools and technologies to be able to translate the entire website along with all the features and all the different sections and everything into another language pretty quickly. And this is not just in another one language, but simultaneously into some of the different languages that are there. And then, of course, we have had a few checks and balances that we do on top of that to really understand, whether the language is coming through well or not. But I think the technologies are also getting there in the right space. So with the right, prompts and other elements, the language translation has been very, very useful and productive and very fast, for anyone to kind of, do that kind of translation manually would take like many, many man hours behind, but this has been possible in a very swift manner. Similarly, on the side of voice, the entire dubbing, for example, where there is always, when you dub something in another Indian language, there's always a little bit of mismatch between the lips and the lip syncing and the audio that's coming through. And with AI, that I would say is sort of much better, more coherent, more clear in its approach. And when done well, you would not even see the difference, or you would see a very minor difference with sort of, very precise eyes. Otherwise, you would not see much difference between the different elements out there. And as you know, given the literacy rates in some of the rural areas, voice becomes a very, very important part of the entire mix by which we reach consumers. So therefore, both language and voice have been very interesting topics to kind of look at, especially in a country which has got so many different native Indian languages.
That's good. I see one more question, which is actually for Kantar, and I'll pick that one up. So it's about actually just specifically to the creative creation of creative and testing of creatives, and it says, can you tell us a bit more about Link AI and how it is being used in India by clients? So I'll just say that we've been actually very pleasantly surprised by the openness with which clients have approached it, and specifically India, given its scale and breadth, there are a couple of challenges that clients are facing. One is, let's say, a video created for one part of the country, will it work across India? And AI is helping us kind of study transference. A lot of clients are also asking us about what I would call meta learnings, that, can you tell us the codes of success for advertising in my category? So we just did a piece, for example, for automotive. And what we saw was that, and you might have intuitively felt that all auto ads look like each other. Sometimes it's hard to kind of figure out what the brand is. And that's what the meta learning said, that in general, a lot of the auto ads are scoring low. So that gives an opportunity for clients to come up with something unique and which is branded for their own brand and stands out from the clutter, and then that will improve obviously marketing ROI. So that's just one example, but we've had about 25 or 30 leading brands and marketers adopt it, and including Nestlé. So that's very positive. Thank you for all the interest, and I see there are a lot more questions there. We will have our experts get back on that. I'm afraid that's all the time we have right now. I'd like to thank you, Chandan, for joining me today and sharing your experience and expertise of how AI is opening up lots of opportunities within Nestlé and the wider industry. And a sincere thank you to all of you. You've taken the time to attend this session. And I hope you will continue to explore innovation in AI with us today in our next session, where Kantar's Chief AI Scientist, Ashok Kalidas, he'll take us through how we are accelerating insights by maximizing the value of consumer data. And Ashok will be joined in a fireside chat by Jane Osler, our EVP of Global Thought Leadership, to discuss the hottest topics in AI and what she's hearing on the ground from clients and influencers as well. If you have registered, you will have the invite to the next webinar in your calendar. If you haven't, simply use the link in the console on your screen to join the next webinar. Thank you again, and hope to see you in a few minutes. Goodbye for now.